Hello guys, and this is section 3, and in this section we're going to be looking at standard input and output redirection and EOF. We're also going to be looking at file input and output, reading from a file and writing to a file, and detaching from a shell, screen utility, and the AND. And also we're going to be rewriting and appending the first log, and we're going to be looking at environmental variables, playing with the paths. Alright, moving on. In this video we're going to look at standard input and outputs. Standard outputs. Every Unix Linux operating system has a concept of a default place for outputs to go, and everyone calls that standard outputs. Let me shed more light on that. Since this phrase, standard outputs, is actually mouthful, everybody calls it standard output. The thing is, your bash is constantly watching what default the output place on your terminal. So when your bash sees a new output there, it prints it out on the screen so that you, the user or the end user, can see it in the output. That is how the output works on the terminal. And looking at the standard input or the standard input stream where data is sent to read by a program. So this is the default place where commands listen for information. So the next one is the EOF, or we call it end of file, is a condition encountered by a read operation on the file. So the next one we're going to be looking at, it stands for input stream. That's all for this side, and let's move on to the terminal. So before we begin, we're going to be creating the text file, and don't forget I said std out means standard output and std in means standard input or standard in. Now we can redirect text in and out of a command. So to do that, we're just going to be dealing with some little thing on the command line over here. So to get that started, we can do echo. Then after writing echo bookstore, and we can see we have our bookstore returned to us as an output. And actually what this does is this will take the text as an input and then returns it back to the command line as an output. We can also actually send this straight to a text file. So to do that, we can just do echo bookstore, then redirect it straight to the std output txt, and here we are. We can see we didn't receive any output on our terminal. The reason why we won't get this is that this is actually sent straight into the standard output text file. So if we can use the cat command to call this text and enter, we can see we have our content over here that we passed from the beginning, and when we call it with a cat, and we can see the content inside the file. So that's on that. We can also echo something different in what we have in the file over here. So we can just do this. We can say echo. We can say change. And after doing that, we can just pass that to the std output.txt, then enter. We can see we didn't receive any output at all. So when we use the cat command again to call this and enter, we can see that we have a different content in our text file because it got changed. The same thing happened when we tried it over here. We sent it directly into our text file, and we can see when we use our cat to get the answer, we got bookstore. And we can also append or add to this content we have over here. That is, if you want to see change bookstore, we can actually add something else to it by appending, by using the double greater than signs. So they actually called operators. We talked about operators in the previous video. We can use it to append to a file, and to do that we can just do echo. Use this, we can say marvel and dc bookstore. So let's redirect that to std out.txt and enter. Now what is going to happen here is that we're going to be checking this std out and see if it is added to the change bookstore that we replaced with the bookstore over here. So what happens is this is actually going to send this directly to the std in and tells it that this change bookstore needs a new partner. So to do that, to view this, the thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be calling the cat command with the std output, then enter. We didn't put double greater than sign. Then let's change this. Our change bookstore. Then enter. So when I call the cat command again, and we can see we have both content in the same text file over here. And also let the directories in our terminal, that is by sending this directories or this scripts into a text file. So to do that, we can just do ls greater sign, then root dir txe, and enter. When I say cat root txe, you can see I have scripts over here in the text file, and we can see we have the root.txe in the standard output over here. So the next thing we can also do is we can also use a pipe command to list what we have in our text file. So by sending an output of the cat command to another command called word count or WC, we can just do this by listing it. So we say cat followed by the root there. Then we can use the pipe command. After using your pipe command, you pass the WC, then enter. This will actually give us the number of lines we have, the number of words we have, and this will actually give us the number of bytes we have in our script or whatever it is we have in our text.txe file. So that's all for this video, guys, and I hope you learned something great.